It is the 10th Korean Film Festival to take place in Australia and will present 22 of the best Korean films. As the chairman of Korean Film Festival, David Park has already taken part in the festival for 9 years.
The Korean Film Festival has been running for 10 years. I think what our job is to make it accessible as possible for the people that want to join in. We're the Korean Film Festival in Australia, so 100% of our program has to come from Korea or have been produced by a reputable amount of Korean staff. I do believe that the films that are coming out of Korea are of substantially high quality, so we want you guys to take part in it.
During the opening night, it can be shown how complete and professional Korea is, with numerous details highlighting their great work. Korea was held at the Danny Sena Opera Keys, which is in front of many famous Sydney landmarks, like the Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge, therefore providing a charming night view for those participating in the festival. Furthermore, there was a bar where everyone could have a drink while enjoying the films comfortably. There are various different reasons for people attending Korea. Some of them are coming for the film, while some of them are participating because of the festival itself.
In past years, it's always been a good selection of movies. So I'm waiting to see how the movies, whether it's a good selection again.
My dad is Korean, but I grew up here, so I don't know too much about Korean culture. So when I do watch a Korean film, it opens me more to my culture.
Korean cinema is wonderful. I think the Korean filmmakers are really making exciting works on a range of scales, from very big budget mainstream films to incredible art house films. So it's a great cinema industry, so we're happy to support it.
I think it's a good idea to introduce mainstream Korean movie to mainstream Australian society. It's open to Australian public, which I think is an interesting thing for them to appreciate what Korean culture is like.
The genres of Korean cinema are abundant. For example, the horror film Train to Busan and the realistic film Silenced. Everyone there has the most favorite Korean film.
This year is a very big year for Korean cinema because Parasite by Bong Joon-ho won the Palme d'Or in Cannes. Of course, Parasite had a great theatrical run in Australia, but more importantly in Korea and in France. So it's a great year for Korean cinema, and I think it will only improve.
I can't give you one, I can give you three. Okay. JSA, Joint Security Area, and I would say Memories of Murder. And the other one I like very much is a film called Sunny, about a group of young girls and the women that they become.
A Resistance, after watching this film, I was really overcome with emotion, and the story definitely resonated with me. 17 years old, a young girl, a prisoner, and she loses her life when her whole life and her future is ahead of her. And I think that is a tragedy that will resonate with people universally. So I really wanted that to open this year because it was not just a great film, it was also relevant with the times. 2019 marks 100 years of the provisional government of the Korean people, and it also marks 100 years of Korean cinema.
Korean film is often inherently political, not always, and not just to do with the colonial era, but also to do with the North and South, the left and right. So Korean cinema is almost always political in some way.
The diverse characteristics and the distinctive expression of Korean film makes Korea to be a festival that has unique features. This helped the festival to engage with participants from different age and cultural backgrounds.
I think I have seen some Korean films, and they're like talking about the classes difference, classes conflicts in Korean. That is like really interesting, I think.
In terms of film, I think Korean cinema is really amazing, and I think compared to like the other countries out there, Korean cinema has a lot to offer.
The thing that I love about Korean film is that the people I see on the screen true to the people that I meet. In Korean film, I see a connection and it's authentic to me, and that's one of the things that keeps me going back.
Korean movies, I think, tend to be a bit slower and tend to be very much related on the person feelings, looking more inward, where probably a lot of the Australian movies tend to follow the American way of action, bash and barge and things like that. Whereas I think the Korean movies are very much slower, but they do get you probably more emotionally involved with the people. And also the sense of humour sometimes can go from laughing to suddenly bang bang and, very sudden.
Busan and Pifan are kind of a wider spread of films, so films from many countries and what have you, where this is a specifically Korean focus, though those other festivals will have a Korean retrospective and concentrate on one actor or one director. I mean, it's only the beginning of this year's Korea, so it's a bit hard to tell, but, big attendance tonight, and very special feeling because it's 10 years, I think. But all the other festivals have also been quite good.
In the past 10 years, Korea has gradually begun to stand out from the numerous international film festivals in Australia. More and more famous directors and popular actors are willing to come to Sydney and promote Korean culture. And for the next 10 years of Korea, Devi has his own plan.
We should be asking ourselves, where should we go from now for the next 10 years? And I think we have to try and stay as consistent as possible. Try and not get too swayed by trends and swayed by other visions, but to always remember our vision of encouraging cultural understanding between Korea and Australia and using film as that format. We want to continue to try and highlight the best films of the year, but we also want to try and push boundaries and grow with our audience. We want to try and grow with the perception and the recognition of Korean culture by our audiences. 호피아 화이팅!